Welcome back to Big Riff Energy. It's episode 105. You Black Oak, Arkansas fans out there will appreciate the significance of that magical number. Today's Tuesday, April 29th. Got some serious catching up to do. It's been about, I think, 4 weeks since I've done a proper solo episode. Last few episodes have been interviews. Spoke with Blake from Power Trip and Fugitive last episode and spoke with Kirk Winstein the previous episode, so check those out if you haven't. But yeah, there's a new Ghost album. We'll dig into that. There's been quite a few really good albums that have come out since I did the last solo episode. So we'll talk about the new Ghost. I'm going to talk about a record that I think will probably be the death metal album of the year that will appeal to all fans of any flavor of Swedish death metal. May 31st, Spirit Adrift hits the stage in Austin, Texas. Been a long time since we played a gig. Rehearsals are going really well. Get your tickets for that at spiritadrift.com. Links and details in the description. If you guys are new here, go ahead and subscribe. That helps me get cooler interviews. I got some cool ones coming up. Man, I tried to go to the Meshuggah Cannibal Corpse Carcass show in Austin and snag Rob Barrett, but it just didn't work out. I was too interviewed out the last month or so. But I'll get him next time. I'm going to try to get him later this year. Okay, new Ghost album. Skeleta, is that how you say it? I heard the singles, liked all the singles. What's the last one that came out? Peacefield, first track on the album. That's one of my favorite Ghost songs, for sure. Satanize was cool. I liked the video for that. He looks super evil. The getup that he displays at the end, the big reveal, I was like, yes, because he looks really evil again. But I'm not sure that aesthetic makes any sense anymore based on the material on this album and maybe even like the previous album and the single from the documentary. I did an episode a while back ranking the Ghost albums. The first album is definitely my favorite by far, and I like Prequel a lot. But my favorite Ghost song is either, I would say, Square Hammer, but a close second probably is The Future is a Foreign Land, that last one. And the reason why I love those songs so much is they have these big pop choruses, but he's singing pretty, maybe not in The Future is a Foreign Land, but definitely in Square Hammer. You have these huge pop choruses, almost like Def Leppard Hysteria type choruses, but he's singing about really evil shit. And I love the dichotomy of that. It reminds me of the Misfits a little bit in the sense that, you know, you listen to the songs and the vocals and it's real poppy and melodic and catchy, and almost kind of innocent sounding at times, but the lyrical content is just super twisted and evil. And that's so much fun to me. That was the original appeal for me with the Misfits and stuff like that. And that's what I like about Ghost. There's stuff I really don't like. I don't like their last album at all. But this one, it combines the evil sounding stuff from the first album. Like there's some pretty evil riffs here and there on this new record, but it has like the pop, like unapologetically over the top, catchy pop melodicism and choruses specifically. And I think that's the magic of Ghost. I think that's where it really works. And that's what I wasn't really getting from the last album. But yeah, the first 3 songs, let me bring the album up so I'm not just guessing here. Yeah. So the first 3 songs are the the singles. Lacrima I thought was okay. I like the riff that sounds like it should be on the first album. There's like a one note specifically in that riff that's super atonal and dissonant and creepy sounding. But again, when they kick into the chorus, it's like very, very 80s pop sensibilities. Track 4, Guiding Lights, big time ballad, 80s ballad vibe. I noticed Tobias in an interview was talking about the Black Album. It kind of gave me that era. So maybe even early 90s, like Ozzy, No More Tears, Metallica, Black Album, like the ballads, you know, so like Unforgiven, Nothing Else Matters, or like not so much Mama, I'm Coming Home, but is Road to Nowhere on No More Tears, which is interesting because he's talking about the road to nowhere, which is literally an Ozzy lyric or probably a Bob Daisley lyric. And that's one thing I picked up on with this record is it's super, I don't even mean this as an insult, but it's very transparently derivative at times. Peacefield, the first song, which I think is the best one, he is clearly just robbing Journey. And he even uses like two of the same words that are on the chorus of the Journey song that he's stealing, which I thought was like, it doesn't bother me. I don't really care because, you know, we're going to get into the series that I've been doing best riffs of every year, starting from 1970. Today is 1973. And I'm going to play what I think are the 3 best riffs of 1973. And they're all almost the same riff. So, but like the bands weren't stealing from each other. It just like came out that way. So the derivative nature of this doesn't really bother me, but I do think it's interesting how transparent it is at times. Like you got the Journey chorus on the first song. He's talking about Road to Nowhere on, I believe it's track 4. I only had time to listen to this record a couple times. I think it's Cenotaph where they're playing the riff from Children of the Grave, but they turn it into like a complete pop thing, which I thought was awesome. I like that song a lot. The Love Rocket, Miscelia Amori is hilarious to me. To me, that's like very obvious, like Def Leppard Hysteria vibes. And I think I just feel that from this whole album. You know, I really like the early Def Leppard stuff, especially High and Dry, but they kept getting bigger, not just in popularity, but just in their approach, the scope of the music, the attitude of it. They just wanted it to be bigger and bigger and bigger and more sparkly and more shiny and more poppy. And I think that works really well for Ghost. And if you look at stuff from the past that is similar sounding to Ghost that very clearly inspired it, I don't really ever hear people talking about Alice Cooper Trash, that album. But if you listen to Poison from the Alice Cooper Trash album, it literally sounds like Ghost, exactly like Ghost. And see, again, you have an artist who was kind of grimy and heavy and scary and nasty sounding for the time in Alice Cooper. And it just kept getting bigger and more overproduced and more melodic and more of that studio, like glossy magic. But I like that stuff. I like all of it. I like the nasty Alice Cooper stuff. I like the dirtier, punkier, almost Def Leppard stuff. I like the early Blue Oyster Cult stuff where it's kind of nastier sounding, but then they go into Fires of Unknown Origin, and that's kind of more just glossy and refined and intentionally like mainstream sounding. I think that's cool when you have like evil riffs in there still, or like spooky subject matter. And that's what I get from this record. This to me is like, I feel like Tobias was trying to approach it as a Def Leppard Hysteria kind of vibe, like really, really lean into the pop elements, whether it's the backing vocals or, Marks of the Evil One might be my favorite track on the record. And it's interesting. There's a keyboard, like super poppy sounding. I'm not sure what kind of keyboard sound it is. It's almost like a little chimey thing, but it's playing the vocal melody for like almost the entire song behind his lead vocal. and it's just super duper poppy sounding. But the riffs and the chorus is almost kind of like Merciful Fatey, you know, and I just love that. I love again that dichotomy of like evil, you know, conventional like metal subject matter and riffs here and there, but in the context of a production that is more akin to like a pop record almost. I do not like the last song. I had to turn it off. Track 4 is a ballad, but it reminds me more of like it almost kind of is like every rose has its thorn, or you know, yeah, My Mom Coming Home or Road to Nowhere, which is again he's literally saying Road to Nowhere. So I don't know if that's an intentional wink and a nod, but probably is. But that last song is just too lame. It's really, really lame. But okay, if I had to rank this record with the rest of the catalog, I would probably put it, I can't remember how I ranked them. I think I had the first record in S, and I think I had Prequel and Pope Star in A tier. And I would definitely put this one in A tier and possibly even S if it weren't for that last song. But it's, I don't know. I love it. I think it's everything cool about the band and none of the stuff that turned me off with that last album. Again, they seem to excel when they're walking the line between evil classic metal stuff and super glossy 80s pop stuff. And they nailed that on this album. You know, a few of their best songs they've ever written are on here. So I'm psyched. Ghost is kind of like a cultural thing. I feel like the metal media, whatever you want to call it, seems to like push this narrative that Ghost is like super divisive, but I don't see that in the real world. They want to act like people either love this band or they hate them and think they're, an affront to metal or whatever. But to me, it seems like people either love them / respect them or don't really care that much. I don't really personally see a lot of hatred for this band anymore. But I like that record a lot. It'll be on my year-end list for sure. I'll talk about another couple of records here just out the gate. Again, guys, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I would appreciate it. The more subscribers I have, the more cool guests I can get on here. And I'm going for some pretty big names. So also write me at bigriffenergy@gmail.com. Questions, ideas for the podcast. This series that I started doing, playing the best riff from every year, starting in the 70s, came from one of you guys writing in. So that's now a permanent fixture of this podcast. And it's something that I don't see other podcasts doing. So you guys have great ideas. And if you write me with a good enough idea, I'll do it for sure. Okay, so some other records that have come out since the last solo episode I did for black metal / shoegaze fans. That's just an easy tagline. The new Deafheaven rules. I think it's my favorite album they've ever done. I liked Ordinary Corrupt Human Love a lot. This new one is called, Lonely People with Power. It's got their heaviest riffs for sure. It has some like really, really, really heavy riffs. It also has the shimmery, reverb drenched, beautiful stuff that they've been doing all along. But yeah, it's mean. It hits like, it's really good. If you like black metal or shoegazy, modern screechy shit, you'll really like it. It's phenomenal. Other friends of the podcast from Ohio, Lopean put out a record. I think it's called Get Well Soon. Great, just straightforward, like hard rock with cool angular riffs. Jeff from Lopean's one of my favorite singers alive today. He's a fucking phenomenal, just old school rock singer. I would say Lopean would be for fans of Caius and Elder and the more kind of straightforward kick-ass riffy parts of like the Tool catalog. It's just really good hard rock. Yeah, with really standout vocals. So check that one out if you like the more melodic stuff. But guys, I think the death metal album of the year is going to be a band from Sweden called Lik, Lik. I think they pronounce it like leak in Sweden, maybe. It means corpse. But I've been a fan of this band since I first discovered them. They had a record on one of my year-end lists a while back. I can't remember what year. But this new album is called Necro. And these guys are legitimate, bona fide Swedish death metal. All of the coolest aspects of Swedish death metal. They got the tone. They got the nasty sounding stuff. They also have plenty of like hooky melodic guitar parts. The obvious points of reference are Entombed and Dismember. But I also hear stuff that wouldn't be totally out of place guitar-wise on In Flames, Jester Race, or the early In Flames records. And even there's parts that remind me of like the early Amon Amarth. I really love that Amon Amarth record with Odin at Our Side, I think it's called. And I hear parts of this record that remind me of that. So all the best aspects of Swedish death metal, whether it's like the really brutal, nasty shit like Left Hand Path, or even like the Nihilist stuff, or, Dismember. Yeah, full spectrum from that stuff to the more like accessible, catchy, beautiful. Man, the lead guitar is so good. The songs are just really catchy, and it's a masterpiece, man. For my money, for this style of death metal, the Chainsaw Tone, HM2, Swedish stuff, these guys are the best. I really like Skeletal Remains, but they're a different style. I really like Necrot, but they're a different style. If we're talking about Swedish chainsaw stuff, since Black Breath no longer exists, I would say that Lik from Sweden are easily the best. So check out that new record, Necro. I think I talked about the Imperial Triumphant record last episode. For death metal, those are kind of like the two records that have hit me super hard this year. And again, I said I wasn't going to listen to new music, but a lot of good stuff has been coming out. And I've pretty much wrapped up, or getting close to wrapping up, the stuff I've been working on. That's kind of why I wanted to avoid listening to new music, so I wouldn't be in that mindset. I wanted to be in a super 80s mindset. But I'm coming to the end of the road on that stuff. So I've felt a little more comfortable blasting new music. So check all that stuff out, guys. I'll put all those albums and everything in the description of the video. Yeah. Again, Spirit Adrift is coming back to the stage May 31st at Empire in Austin, Texas. I was out flyering last week. I'm going to be out flyering at the Pentagram show May 11th to try to let people know that there is old school metal / doom influenced metal that you can come enjoy, where 0 of the members are abusing elderly family members. So if you find some flyers on your windshield at the Pentagram show, that was me. I was at the Sword show too at End of an Ear. I want to talk about this because this fucking ruled, man. I am not a record store day guy. I think it is just another ploy by corporations to fucking clog up the world with their bullshit. I'm just not a fan. But I saw that the Sword had reissued Warp Riders. I kind of missed that record when it came out. I was kind of doing other stuff. I loved the first Sword record. I was a senior in high school when it came out. But they reissued Warp Riders, and End of an Ear in Austin, if you waited in line in the morning with all the fucking Taylor Swift fans or whoever, get a copy of Warp Riders, you get a wristband to come back that night and watch the Sword in the record store. And I wasn't sure how that was going to work, but I thought it was a pretty good opportunity to go like hand out flyers and shit for our show. Which, man, I haven't done in a long time. I used to do that a lot and it felt good. It's good to just like be out doing that. It feels, it reminds me of why I started doing this in the first place, you know. But the sword kicked ass, man. I wasn't quite sure how it was going to work, but they let everybody in there. Place filled up in like 2 seconds, and the band sounded so good, man. It's a small space, obviously, but they had their amps turned way down, and the drummer was like somehow playing super heavy, but I feel like he was going real light on the cymbals. And the only thing going through the PA, I think, was maybe kick drum and vocals. And dude, it was pro. It was pro. It's hard as a loud metal band or rock band to turn your amps down. It's such a drag. Like, there's no worse feeling than a sound guy being like, can you turn your guitar down a little bit? I mean, that's the lamest way to start a sound check or a show. But sometimes it's for the best. And they sounded incredible. And Austin, Texas has changed a lot in the last 10, 20 years. But even in just the last 5 years I've been in the area, it has changed to the point that it's even unrecognizable from like 2020. But being in End of an Ear with all these metal fans and, you know, the Sword playing, and there's a Dazed and Confused poster on the wall behind them, and I'm standing in the classic rock aisle with Bad Company and Boston and Blue Oyster Cult and all that shit right there in front of me. It was like, that's one of my favorite Austin, Texas experiences I've ever had. People didn't really have their phones out. They would like bring them up for a second and get a video or whatever, put them away. It just felt like, I don't know. I feel weird to speak because I've only lived in Austin for 5 years, but I've been coming to Austin since I was literally like a toddler, and touring through Austin, you know, every year that I've been touring. And that Sword performance at End of an Ear felt like what Austin is supposed to feel like. It was badass, man. So I don't know. That dude breaks up the band every fucking 2 days. But I hope they keep it together because I like that band. I respect them a lot. I always have. We were supposed to tour Europe with him right before he randomly exploded the band the last time. So I don't know if they got scared or what. Are you guys scared to tour with us? No, I'm kidding. Not really, though. Yeah, but that was a good time. Thanks to everybody that came and said what's up and got a flyer. And I'll see all y'all May 31st. Okay. Should I do the best riffs of 73? I'll do that, and then I'll go to fan emails here. Forgive me. I've left my guitar tracks from the last time I did this. So you can delete tracks while recording in Logic. I did not know that. Learn something new every day. Make sure this sumbitch is working. Okay. 1973, first Lynyrd Skynyrd album came out, so you have stuff like this. How's it go? That's a good one. Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon came out, which is one of my favorite records ever made, but it's great, but it's not really like a riff album. You know what I mean? Like, there's riffs on it, but they're not whatever. It's kind of the whole big picture is what makes it so good. But here's where it gets interesting. Led Zeppelin, Houses of the Holy, right? I keep saying we're going to get to Zeppelin. Let's see. Chorus riff of No Quarter, a song heavy enough for Crowbar to cover and nail. But here's where it gets interesting. Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. here we are. Just pick a Black Sabbath riff from 1973. It's every year that they put a record out in the 70s. You could just pick a riff from their album, right? The title track main riff is an obvious one. But see how similar those are? I mean, they could be in the same song. Those riffs could go into each other. And here's another one. This, if I have to pick one, this will be the one. Because it taught me like a certain type of harmony that I still call the National Acrobat harmony. And this was written by Geezer Butler and not Tony Iommi. But again, very, very similar. Check it out. So I didn't have anybody to play guitar with growing up. So I learned the root note and the harmony and figured out how to play them at the same time. So that's not double tracked. Obviously pretty sloppy because it's supposed to be double tracked, but that harmony, I use it all the time, still refer to it as a National Acrobat harmony. But I mean, those three riffs, like... could be all one song. So that's 73. Let's get to fan questions. Seb from France. Patience pays off. So cool that you managed to do a podcast with Blake Ibanez. I saw some European dates on the way to Spain. There is France. Hopefully you can make a stop. Question for you. What are your current projects? You mentioned new Spirit Adrift material. Yeah, so we're going to announce like the full European adventure here pretty soon. We got artwork for it and stuff. But I think so far we've announced the UK dates with 3 Inches of Blood, which includes Bloodstock Festival. What else? I think there's like a Netherlands show with 3 Inches of Blood. We're playing a festival in Germany, festival in Portugal, doing a week in Spain. And yes, we are currently filling in some of those gaps. I think we're trying to announce the full thing here in a couple of weeks with the artwork and everything. So keep your eyes peeled. There's a chance that we'll do a show in France for sure. Yeah, mention new Spirit Adrift stuff. That's part of why I haven't done an episode like this in a long time, is I've really been dug in, and when stuff starts to flow, it really starts to flow. I always dread the lyric and vocal writing part of the process. So some of these songs I've been sitting on for a long time, and I just haven't really fully devoted myself to the vocals and lyrics. But the last few weeks, for whatever reason, it just started coming out. So, I mean, I pretty much have an album written and demoed, but I'm going to keep tweaking away. Like, I got 8 songs for sure that would make a really badass album. And then I probably have like 4 or 5 others that are kind of sitting around. And a lot of times what happens, and which actually did just happen, is I'll think that I have, okay, there's the next album. And I'll just get hit with a song that's really good. And so then it kind of elevates the expectations for the rest of the songs. And I go back and listen to some of the other ones, and I'm like, well, they're not quite as good as this one I just wrote, which is good. Then it just keeps getting better, and the quality just keeps improving. So yeah, that's where I'm at. It's not going to be coming out anytime soon. I still want to finish up. Just make sure we got plenty of material. Make sure that it's all as good as it can possibly be. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's different. Been using a different tuning, Master of Reality tuning, which has created some pretty different results. I've been talking with Dave at the label, and he's like, this is by far the darkest, most evil sounding stuff. So it's a lot of fun. I'm psyched on the songs. Really, really psyched. So yeah, I'm going to finish up the demoing process for that any day now, and then pivot to the live stuff coming up, and then probably start focusing on Neon Nightmare album number 2, which I got a couple ideas for. But I try to do one thing at a time. You know, you can half-ass 2 things or whole-ass 1 thing, right? Or, you know, you really don't want to 1/3 ass 3 things or quarter ass 4 things. That's not even making a joke. That's when shit gets ugly. Brandon, have you ever listened to the Probot album? If so, do you have a favorite song from it? And what song would you consider the weakest, if any? Yeah, Probot. For those of you who don't know, it was like a Dave Grohl. Dave Grohl wrote a bunch of songs, played like most of the instruments, but then he had a guest performer on each song, guest vocalist, but then some of the guys would also play whatever, guitar or bass or whatever. Yeah, I'll throw the track listing up on the screen. I was 16 when this came out. I did get it because I thought it was an interesting concept, but I think I had like heard most of these bands at the time. Like I had definitely heard Sepultura, Motorhead, COC, DRI, St. Vitus, Celtic Frost. I'm not sure if I had heard them. Voivod, I'm not sure. What's weird, I haven't listened to this record in years and years, but I'm not the biggest Voivod fan in the world, but the one with Snake from Voivod, Dictatosaurus, that's the only chorus that I can remember. And he's like, from now on, things are gonna change, right? So weirdly enough, out of all of the songs on the record, that's like when I was looking at these songs, I was trying to think of the riffs or the vocals and literally drawing blanks. But for whatever reason, Dictatosaurus with Snake from Voivod definitely has the best chorus because I remember it. I don't remember any other ones. Yeah, I can't. I don't know that there was like clearly a weakest track or anything like that. I can't remember. I do remember the video for Shake Your Blood because it's Dave Grohl on drums and Lemmy on bass and Wino on guitar. Even though Wino plays on a different song here, Emerald Law. But yeah, I guess I'm going to have to go with Dictatosaurus for the best track because I remember the chorus. Dictate a chorus. Hope that answers your question. Okay, man, what else? Acid Bath officially returned to the stage, and I saw some footage. They played New Orleans. I was like, I don't know why, because I've seen him a bunch and he's always great. But I was still shocked at how great Dax sounds. My God. And he had his hand in his pocket, which was cool to see. You know, that's the vibe we want, the hand in the pocket. But yeah, they sounded good. I think they'll probably only sound better. There were a couple songs I would have liked to see on the set list. I'd have to look at it again, but I don't think they played Dope Fiend, and that's my favorite. Like, how can you not play Dope Fiend with that sing-along part that, yeah, motherfucker, I'm high, and I'm thankful just to be alive. Yeah. You got to. Like, imagine the whole crowd singing that with them. So, guy, if somebody from that camp sees this, I know a couple of y'all, Shane, Zach, fucking play Dope Fiend, man, in Florida, please, or Chicago. Work up Dope Fiend. I'll fucking give you guys $50 each if you play if you play Dope Fiend. But no, it sounds really, really good, especially Dax. Yeah, he looks good. Everybody in the band looks good, healthy, and kicking ass. I mean, Dax is one of the best, fucking weirdest, most unique vocalists in the history of metal by far. And it's cool to see him back up there doing it. And I can't wait to see those guys. Shit, I guess that's it, guys. I don't know. I didn't really plan out too much to talk about. But check out all those records that I mentioned. There's really good stuff been coming out the past few weeks. That's all in the description. Tickets to see Spirit Adrift May 31st at Empire at spiritadrift.com. What else? Yeah, subscribe, write me, bigriffenergy@gmail.com. I'm still trying to figure out if I want to auction off this Dunnable guitar or do a raffle or whatever. So let me know if anybody's interested in doing like a raffle for a Dunnable guitar, and we'll send like half the money to charity. That was supposed to be a 100 episode celebration, but you know, maybe we can do like 113 or something like that. Let me know, guys. All right. See ya soon. Peace.